who better to do the final introduction before Birdemic, Shock and Terror than the writer-director himself. So give it up for James Nguyen.
Yes.
Hello, Hollywood LA. Are you ready for Birdemic 1 and 3? Are you sure?
Yeah.
How many of you have a drink? What have you smoked? Oh, it's great to be here in Los Angeles, here at the Circuit Movie Club. And I really appreciate your attendance here. You know, this is the first time of a double feature ever, really, since 2, Birdemic 1 and 3. I made, directed and produced the first one way back in 2008. You know, barely any money. It's like $10,000. It was released in 2010. It became a world code sensation hit. You know, I think some of you have seen it. You know, like, according to the New York Times, it was a high-flying coat. You know, according to the New York Times, you know, way back then. And then 2013, Birdemic 2, The Resurrection. You know, Bird attacking Hollywood. So the first one was Bird attacking Half Moon Bay, and this one, the third one, attacking Santa Cruz. So the theme is similar, but this is just a different, little different story. What I like, but the first Birdemic is one of the earliest films to raise the alarm about climate change. I mean, remember, this is way back 2010, where people are still thinking of it, it's kind of, yeah, it's there, it's in the news, but we, you know, things are heating up back then, but not like now. We're living it. Everything you saw in Birdemic 1, we're living it right now. I mean, Maui, come on, I mean, it's, you know, just even paradise in California, it's caused by global warming, extreme heat, you know, so. But Birdemic 3 is, you know, it's a little more serious film because it gives more, it tries to give some answer to fix climate change, you know, climate fix. And it's got the best music of all three, in my opinion. So, and so, you know, Craig referred to Hitchcock. Yeah, I mean, the Birdemic, the whole thing got inspired by The Bird, really, and partial The Bird, but partial Alco and Inconvenient Truth way back, you know, in 2008, 9, and I think he won an Academy Award for that film, you know, Inconvenient Truth. So those two films that inspired the whole Birdemic franchise. This is a dream. I've never thought that I made a film, and it was almost like a fan film, really. I tried to be serious, and it became a hit. And you know, Birdemic 2 and 3 now, Birdemic 4 and the script has been written, and like that, and the musical, you know, it will happen. And so I hope you like Birdemic 1, and I hope you like the latest one, Birdemic 3. And please stay for the Q&A. And also, there's I think I gave you there's a draw, a raffle for the trilogy, the Blu-ray, all three films in Blu-ray with the Q&A, with the director's comment, intake, and all that. It's out now, you know, and at price. So keep your ticket, and at the end of the Q&A, we'll just do a draw, you know, and maybe one of you will be the lucky winner, you know, and it could be an omen to win a lottery. You got me a lottery, right? You know, a mega or what is it, Powerball? You know, okay. And again, I appreciate your presence and happy Birdemic. Thank you.
I have, for anyone who's not been to a Secret Movie Club Q&A, I like to ask maybe just 2 or 3 questions, and then I like to go to the audience. So please have your questions ready. I like this to be audience focused. So, Mr. Nguyen.
Yeah, call me James.
James.
That's great. Yeah.
You got it. So I actually wrote down a bunch of questions.
Okay, sure.
Thank you. But first of all, I want to thank Craig, you, and the Secret Movie Club for screening my movie. Let's give him a big,
The pleasure is.
yeah.
It's great. And I'm not, this is not hyperbole. Like, one of the most joyous moments in recent movie memory is, and I know everyone talks to you about this, but you're watching this movie for like 45 minutes, you're like, these, you know, they're nice people, they're appealing, I'm glad they're getting along. And then when you cut to the birds dive bombing in that ride shot, I was like, this is incredible. It's like Kubrick's 2001 Bone to Spaceship cut. It's just the whole movie switches on a dime. So my first question to you is, if you don't mind, just talk a little bit about your history. You sort of put some autobiography into the main male lead because you come out of tech and software as well.
Yes.
Right? So then, can you just tell us the story of how you went from being in tech to being like, I'm going to make a feature film?
It's by accident. I became a movie director by accident. I came to the movies by accident. I don't know if you remember that there was in 1999 to 2001, there was an era called the .com era, remember? And so about late 1999, I think, I was tired of coding. It was just, it was just not for me. I mean, I'm too much of a sales marketing guy. So I began to switch to high-tech sales, but there was this .com, this startup, again, millions of dollars, and I found this startup called MovieHead.com. My production picture name is Moviehead Picture, but it started with MovieHead.com, and we were the first Netflix, we were the first streamer. In 1999, 2000, it was dial-up, and I came to Hitchcock because I went down to Hollywood to license his early films, the black and white, The Man Who Knew Too Much, and the public domain, they're cheap, and a lot of B movies, and that's how I got into the movie business. That's how we would you see Netflix streaming, Disney streaming, everybody's streaming, the big studio. Well, we were the first. In 2000, streaming, I raised $500,000, MovieHead.com, okay? And we were streaming, we wouldn't make any money, but we were streaming, we were burning cash like water, and so the MovieHead.com went belly up. And got no more money and say, well, I fell in love with the movie. I have a sales marketing inclination, and I just started to pick up the camera and start making movies.
Well, and so then the next question is, I heard you say that The Birds is one influence. What was the second movie?
Al Gore and Inconvenient Truth.
Okay, got it. That
Yeah.
you went to go see.
Yeah, it came out in 2008 or 7 something, An Inconvenient Truth.
Sure.
Yeah, I think 6 or so, around there, and it was a massive hit. He won an Oscar for the documentary. I think even a Nobel Prize. I think that near those years, and that film really caught me, and I became a Hitchcock fan. In 2001, and my first film was Julie and Jack, kind of like a modern day Romeo and Juliet, and then I made a replica, and so it was 2 films, and the third one, 2008, was Birdemic. Okay.
And this is I have tons of questions.
Sure.
And I'm going to go to you guys.
Sure.
And there's a story that people who know about you and know about the movie know about. But you were pretty savvy because you went up to Sundance.
Yes.
And you had like a van.
Yeah.
And you were advertising Birdemic. And how did it go from there to having to, like, Tim and Eric do the premiere here in LA? So what happened?
Well, after the film was finished in late 2008, I think it was early 2009. There's couldn't find a distributor. No one took it, so I say, well, let's do like a helmet, like in football. You just go to Sundance and make a lot of noise. So I had no money, so I had very little. Well, at that point, I was just living on unemployment checks, and so I just used that money. I bought the van that you saw in the movie, it died. Okay, so I had to buy another used van, a small one. I think it was a Nissan. So, when I was there, I covered it with blood, and I think there's a picture, online. You can see it with fake egos, and so I just traveled Main Street and other films, and I was making a lot of noise, and even the cops stopped me. The police say, "What are you doing?" Say, "Well, I'll just promote my movie. Check my driver license, ID." Okay, well, we'll leave you alone. So, so that was 2000. So, and I got lucky. I met Evan. He's one of the employee, I think, executive at Seven Film. That connect me with the owners. David Gregory and Carl Daff, and basically we made a deal, and they made, and the rest was history. I mean, for a film what you just saw, it was a massive hit. I don't think there was a movie about birds, that became a hit like that massively since Hitchcock the Bird. Okay, so that was 2010. When we make a movie and it gets the front cover of the New York Times, a flying code hit, it becomes a classic, just automatic. And so I think I made it out of passion to see the film, and I just want to get my money back or just get distribution. I didn't think that it would become a hit. Everything happened by accident. You cannot consciously go out and make a cult film, a hit film. If it happens, great. If not, it just accident. I call happy accident, and I got lucky.
So let me, do we have questions from the audience? If not, I've got it. Yes, go for it.
I was just curious. I was just wondering, because there's a lot of actors that you're working with. I was just wondering how was it working with all those actors? Were they how? It seemed like they were into it.
Yes.
For the most part.
Yeah, I got lucky with the cast with BIRDEMIC 1, and Whitney Moore and Alan Bob. They're still in the business acting, and good casting. The thing, any filmmakers out here, it's one of the things of making a good film is you can have good casting, and if you have a good casting, it may help save the movie, make it a hit, despite you see the low budget effects and all that. But people willing to forgive us as long as the story is good, the storyline and the people, the actors. It's drama. It's a human emotion, the human experience, the BIRDEMIC experience. That's why I think partly why the movie became a hit, despite its imperfection.
I do have to ask,
Yes.
why did he leave that gallon of gas?
I don't, afterthought. We should have took it. Maybe they panicked. 'Cause the panic, the bird attacked so much that they panicked and they just left.
Well, I mean, to give you, I'm sure people tell you, but to give you real kudos, like I was in the back engaging with Blue. I was like, grab that gas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, I know this is a weird question to ask, because as you said, and I think I talk to my friends about this all the time, you can't consciously make a movie like BIRDEMIC. You have to do it because you want to make a movie and you love it, and then suddenly the audience engages and they discover it. You can't consciously do that. I just have to ask though, what made you decide not to introduce the birds really for 45 minutes?
I think the structure. I mean, I think it's influenced by Hitchcock structure. I mean, the romantic thriller structure. I mean, you see Hitchcock film is greatest, like The Ultimate, Vertigo, Rear Window, even The Bird, To Catch a Thief. It starts out with the two lovers, protagonists. There's foreboding, foreshadowing here or there, okay, and halfway through the movie unfolds itself. The romantic thriller, the bad guys, or the MacGuffin, they say, so in BIRDEMIC, it's similar in structure like that the two protagonists, the lover, there's, they meet, they fell in love, they're foreboding, foreshadowing, things are not all is well, that things are not what it seems to be. And after they make love, the all hell's broke loose. So that's the reason. So there's a Hitchcockian structure to it, a romantic thriller. I mean, you watch other Hitchcock, but his greatest, even the best example is Vertigo, or even Rear Window. There, it's like that.
No, well, for Vertigo for sure has a first half, second half.
Yes,
Absolutely. And I mean, just to your point, I actually was sitting in the back breaking down film structure, and I was like, when they see the birds in San Francisco, and I was like, oh, there they are. Yeah. Like I was like, that was good because we know that we're going to get them. So you give us a little promise early.
Yes. Well, there's foreboding, foreshadowing. You see that the TV anchor saying that the birds are attacking, the climate, I think that in the third one, I gave more foreboding, foreshadowing. like that. But then pretty, so it's a structure thing. Even though it's not truly to the Hitchcock where it's pure a romantic thriller or pure film noir, a murder or something like that. This is much more about climate change and so on.
So to that point, I mean, again, unironically, I was watching it, and even today, we just saw this debate a day or two ago where someone was still saying that it's a hoax, and you sit there and you're like, come on, we just lived through a year of these weird weather patterns and fires. But 15 years ago, what was it for you? Was it inconvenient? What was it for you where you're like, this really scares me and I'm going to make this the crux of a movie?
Well, me, it was real because I believe, so we're living it right now. Look at Maui. It was just barely 2 weeks ago. 1,000 people died. It was so hot. And the storm just carry and blow, basically vape the whole town. Paradise in California. So I believe that way back. But a lot of people those times, which is something in the news. We don't have to worry. We got 50 years. Scientists say 2050,
right,
and all that. And I'm sorry. It's and every year I see things going. I believe in that climate change is here, and you watch the third movie. Okay, I want to give it. There's a little documentary in the beginning. What I can say to you is that, look, I'm not a doomsday guy, okay? I think that we can fix this. Climate change, global warming can be fixed. But the evidence is here now. You just see, we're living in the heat, the extreme weather, the parts per million right now. That's the measurement that sometimes scientists use to the number of level of CO2 in the Earth atmosphere, ppm, okay? Right now, just do a Google, it's 420 ppm. That's high, Normal ppm, pre-industrial civilization, 1750 is 300 or less. You go up to 350, that's the max we can go. We're at 420 now. And we're increasing at 2 ppm per year, that's 50 billion ton per year. And since Industrial Revolution, 1750, we have, I should say, industrial civilization, emitted 2.4 trillion plus and counting ton of CO2. Okay, so just do the math, 2 ppm per year, that's 50 billion ton. 2 times 10, that's 20. We're at 420, we're at 450 and beyond. If we get there 10 years from now, at 450 and beyond, it's called the extinction zone. Okay, yeah, so I don't want to, I'm just telling you, the facts.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Yes, please.
So a lot of people kind of make comparisons with your work to that of like Tommy Wiseau and Nguyen. Have you seen their work, and what's kind of your opinion on that?
Well, I just say that I think I admire him and the other person. I think that filmmakers, like us, perhaps we're not lucky enough to direct, the Hollywood Club. Do you have a $10 million budget with a crew and budget for hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of visual effects? When we don't have that, we just work with what we have, and you get criticized and I think critique, and I say that my work is different from Tommy in the sense that it's more serious. You watch it closely. It's a message here. It's climate change, global warming. You should watch this thing. That was 13 years ago. It's still in the news. 50. We're living it right now. Walk out the door, feel the heat. So it's no longer in the news, longer a movie. It's here, and there's a clock. It's 2 ppm per year, 50 billion ton. We're at 420 right now. We will be at 450 in 10 years, and anything beyond that, 450 ppm, it's extinction. But I'm saying that we can fix this. Imagine this. There's technology like Climeworks, this company in Sweden where they got $800 million of funding, part of it's Bill Gates' money, And what they do is it's direct air capture technology. They suck the CO2 out of the atmosphere and they sequester underground. Okay, and the max that you can do right now is 4,000 tons per year. We need to remove billions. Okay, and the year. And imagine if this competition, Silicon Valley style, they scale it, make it cheap from $700 per ton to remove it to $10 per ton. Make it cheap. You know, make a competition. It can be done. We have that. All these startup, like this. Then we, the United Nations, all nations combine together. United States, the European Union, China, and we put multi-trillion dollar and pay these startups to remove it. Okay, remove it, and basically, as I told you, the clock's ticking right now, and we have to remove. There's 2.4 trillion. That means we can remove 2 trillion ton, or at least 1 trillion ton. So, starting now, we're a little later. We got to remove 200 billion ton per year. That's 2,000. That's 2 trillion, or at least 100 billion minimum, trillion. What 10 years ago, if we do that, we'll get back the normal weather, the Garden of Paradise. Okay, we have to do that. You don't hear that in the news. I offer this, the COP every year. What all has been done so far is mitigation, renewable energy, electric car, solar power, and that's great. I'm all for it. Adaptation, reduce the emission, changing your lifestyle, useless resource. Okay, I'm all for that too. And last year at the COP 27. Reparation. Poor countries been harmed by climate change, so giving a few $1 billion to help them. I'm all for that. I'm all for that. That's great. But my point is that even if our nation it's net zero right now, it's not going to fix this thing. We got 2.4 trillion ton up there right now, and we got to remove like 1 trillion ton at least. For all this crazy thing, extreme weather, the wildfire. It's everywhere now. It's in California, in Greece. There's a Greek tragedy. Greece is burning. Maui. So the evidence is here now, and we can fix this. I'm not doing the guys that we can do, but we're not doing any of that. And that's why one of the things I'm going to try to do this movement called Climate Fix. We have to make an effort to do what I just told you, is to remove it. And the second thing, beyond, it's say that we do fix it. We do fix it 10 years and we move at least 1 trillion ton. Everything goes back to normal, halfway. We get a Garden of Paradise. The Garden of Eden back. It's still, we cannot, that's the only halfway. The second major part, yeah, sure, yeah, sure. Yeah, the second part is that, there's just too many people on planet Earth right now. There's 8 billion people. According to publishing my book with a famous Stanford professor, the planet Earth can only sustain 3 or 4 billion. So it may sound science fiction, but I'm proposing that after we fix this thing, we got to ship 4 billion people up in space. Space colony, the moon, Mars, and beyond. It's that's just a fact. Because it's not the quantity of people, it's the emission of each one of us. Every one of us, we emit carbon, our lifestyle, whatever, so it's too much. And so we cannot sustain under 3, it's saying we fix it, we bring it under 350 ppm.
James, I'm so sorry, we only have a few minutes, so I want to make sure that we can get
sure,
into that.
yeah.
But I want to say, for whatever it's worth, I don't have your background or education.
Yes.
I've been thinking about this a lot lately. But it seems to me, in a layperson, I've been thinking there has to be a technological answer to it, which is what you're saying.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, that's the only way.
Yes,
I was thinking that.
Yes, but the problem is, I think it's psychological. We're not moving. We're not doing anything to remove from the atmosphere. We're not. We can do it, but we're not doing it. I just don't understand why. And that's what I'm saying. If the whole world unite and basically contract these startups and start removing the carbon up there, this whole thing be fixed.
No, it's something I want to look into immediately. So I wanted to ask you, so I'm a filmmaker myself, and I'm just wondering, when you watch Birdemic again, do you know where you were when you made the shots? Can you remember what it was like on that day? Are you what's it like for you watching this movie?
Well, I'll be honest with you, I haven't seen Birdemic 1 for years, in years. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, whatever the reason, I just didn't watch it for years. This is the first time I watched it again in years, okay? Just a few scenes. I think I think too many beers since then. I don't remember everything that much. But I just say that that I got lucky with the cast, the story, and
How many days did you shoot it?
I think altogether it's probably 20 days. Yeah, and spread out 3 to 6 months. I think.
I want to make sure I have just a few more questions for
Yeah.
me. So I just want to know. So there's some things in that, and I know you know
Yes.
this because you're very open about it. That there are decisions that fascinate me. So when his buddy and girlfriend are fooling around on the bed, what's the ImaginePeace.com thing about?
Well, I think we write what we like. I mean, if any of you here writes, of anything, you write to what you know or what you like or whatever, and it reflects your art. One of my favorite singer is this.
John Lennon.
Yeah, John Lennon. Yes, the Beatles. But especially John Lennon. I like that song "Imagine," and that's that time, 2008. It's wartime. I mean, United States invade Iraq, and it was war.
One of your characters is an Iraq vet.
Yeah. So just any movies, it reflects the time, and you try to put it in for the story. So Birdemic was.
So that was more a comment on like, let's imagine not being in war.
Yeah. Yes.
That's what I thought, because the two times that we see those characters
Yes.
together, you have a musical cue that's very reminiscent of Imagine.
Yes. At that time, I remember I was pretty upset about the Iraq War, because I am I should say a victim of war too. The Vietnam War. Way back in 1975, I immigrated this country a week before the fall of Saigon. April 30, but I left a week before that. So the war, Vietnam, United States. So I grew up here, and so when I see something like that, I get angry. So I say, why don't we have peace? So that's why I put it in.
I mean, I figured it was something like that.
Yes.
I have two more questions, and then I want to show. We're going to take 10 minutes, and we're going to do Sea Eagle. One thing is, so you've made this trilogy. You've made the Birdemic trilogy.
Yes.
Is there a dream project that you're comfortable talking about, that if someone said, hey, look, I'll write you a check for $5 million or $4 million, is there a project that you'd love to do that you haven't yet been able to do?
Yeah, beyond Birdemic, I have this film that I really want to get done. Very low budget. I can do myself called Sea Rising. It's kind of like an Inconvenient Truth and a Hangover in Vietnam. Yeah, so I go to Vietnam 3 times a year, and it's kind of like.
And I want to thank you, because you were going and you changed your.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
changed his flight to be with us. So I'm very
Thank you. Yeah, I have to be here. So thank you. Thanks for attending. So the Sea Rising, it takes place in Vietnam. 3 friends go to Vietnam, partying, have a great time, and they find romance and more. So that's the film I think I want to make beyond Birdemic. But the good news that I mapped out the next pre-trilogy, Birdemic Trilogy 2. Okay, so there's Birdemic 4, The Garden of Paradise, what I just told you, the fix. And when you watch Birdemic 3, you understand. Then Birdemic 5, Birdman, Birdemic 6, the Oracle of Delphi. I visited Greece this year, so I got inspired. And I'm trying the next 3. It will not look. I pay my dues, right? You saw you like it, but it's low budget and 3 picture over 13 years. I think it's enough. And anything beyond that, I'm pitching it now to the studio. It's Birdemic Trilogy 2, the 3, 4, 5, 6. $10 million per picture. Okay, so I'm picking everyone, naming Legendary and everybody. I don't want to name the names, And it's got, and I might not be the director. It's fine, but it's got to be done the Hollywood way and all that, like a Hollywood franchise. I mean, is it Fast X now? The Fast and Furious. It's X. So I'm dreaming maybe Birdemic X. Utopia, so yes. So that's the thing. I would not. The only thing that Birdemic that is low budget that I will do, and it might take place here or a stage play. It called Birdemic, the musical. Okay, and because you watch Birdemic, it's partial musical. You know, Just Hanging Out is a massive hit song there. So this thing, Birdemic, the musical, and I'm working on that. And but even though it's a stage play, it's a live stage play like Hamilton. Even the Phantom of the Opera, but will be filmed like a movie, and just filmed like Hamilton, you know, and it's a movie that I think fans would appreciate because I think one of the things that why people like Birdemic is the music of it, the musical, and especially.
I really liked when Whitney busted her moves.
Yeah,
When they were dancing.
yeah. So when you watch Birdemic 3, well, Birdemic 1 is Just Hanging Out. Okay, that's a massive hit song. But Birdemic 3, it has the best music of all the three. Okay, it's you know, start out with Smile. You hear that song by Jack Benson, the song that's you know that's very it hits you. You know, I mean, it's like I'm lucky to find that song. It's like a diamond in a haystack. You know, she's famous in Austin, but beyond that, still unknown. You know, so and a few original songs and. Like that, and I think after Birdemic 3, well, I think success. People like it. I just thought, man, it could be a musical to this. You know, I mean, I'll give you some hints. Okay, it's where the Birdemic, the musical opens at Chrissy Field. Okay, well, it's an electronic screen back. You know, those big digital screen. With the Chrissy Field with the Golden Gate Bridge, and he stands like Batman with his wing open. You know, the Birdman. There's a new character called Birdman. He sings. You know, he sings a song called Birdemic. You know, it's a Birdemic. It's a Birdemic. Who will survive? You know, so I'm trying to. You know, one of my. I mean, not a movie director like Hitchcock, which is my mentor, but is in Low Ever. You know, Phantom of the Opera. You know, I mean, in the Jesus Superstar, you know, and Cats, you know, you can see the Birdman, you know. So I vision. I'm writing this stage play as we speak here, and it's going to be. I believe, just based on response socially on Facebook, it's going to be a massive hit. And the Just Hanging Out song I just saw is part of it too.
Well, that was so. My final question, James, and thank you for giving us your time.
Sure.
Is I ask this of every filmmaker that we talk to, which is, you know, you've now made, and I didn't know what you said, but it sounds like you made 2 movies prior to Birdemic as well. So
Yes.
You've made at least 5 features, and you know you're working and you're coming, you're promoting the movie. We got to pull the ticket so that people can get the trilogy.
Yes.
But my question is, having worked now for 2 decades.
Yes.
What advice would you give filmmakers knowing what you know now? What do you think is the most important thing? If you're going to give your life to cinema, what would you tell people?
I think that, just like any artist, a singer or a musician, just do what you like. Treat it like a passion. You know, to minimize the money part of it. If it's all about money, you're not going to make it. You know, just write what you know. And just in terms of film, work with what you have, like you saw Birdemic, and if you have someone that's funding it for you, even lucky enough a studio or Hollywood producing, great, right? You just hit the jackpot, win the lottery. But most 99.9% of filmmakers who, like me, it's not going to happen. You're going to have to do your own things. And just do it. Tell a story what you believe in. And just minimize the money part of it or the fame. But just do like I did Birdemic, and you might get lucky. And that's my advice.
And it's I'm 46, and I hear the wisdom in that completely.
Yes.
So would you guys please give it up for Mr. Nguyen?
Thank you. And thank you guys, great fans. So now it's time for the trilogy raffle. Okay, so I'm gonna hold it.
You got it. And guys, after we pick the winner, we're gonna take 10 minutes, and then it's Birdemic 3. So thank you guys all for.
Yes, so I get the popcorn here.
Okay, here we go.
This is the prize here, the trilogy. I'm gonna sign it to whoever wins. I'm gonna autograph. All 3 14 years, you know, just improbable. I mean, very improbable. A lot of people were just surprised. Okay, so we got all the thing here and shake.
Okay, read us the number, sir.
Shake it. So Greg, you wanna
I would be honored.
I'm just gonna shake it. It's all fair shake. Really shake well, you know.
I already have my hand signed trilogy, so I don't have to cheat. Okay, here we go. The winner. Look at your tickets. Oh, these are my lucky numbers. 343004.
Oh,
Boom, right there. Congratulations.
All right, guys, 10 minutes and then BIRDEMIC 3.
Great.
So just one more round of applause.